Hello everyone, I'm Dead Knight and this is In It to Win It. Today we're going to be talking about the Forged in the Barrens card set, which is the first expansion outside of Core Set 2021 for Year of the Griffin. And we're going to be talking about Demon Hunter's card pool. We're going to go over the best card in the deck, the worst card in the set, and my honorable mention according to my opinion. So please don't forget to hit subscribe below and let's see what we got. So the first card that I'm going to say is the best card in the set for Demon Hunter is Kurtrus, Ashfallen. So this guy is a legendary Demon Hunter card. It is a 3/4 for 4 mana, and when you play it, it is going to immediately attack the left and right most minion on your opponent's board, and if you played it with Outcast, it is going to have Immune. So this is a great card to retake the board for Demon Hunter in the early game. It's also a great card to get in the way of your opponent's game plan if you're an aggro Demon Hunter. Even though 4 mana is a little expensive for something like that, you're potentially taking out 2 cards right when this guy hits the board, and it may even stick to the board even if it doesn't have Outcast, depending on what minions it hits. If it does have Outcast, it's 100% sticking to the board and potentially killing 2 minions in the process. That is great value. This guy is potentially going 3 for 1 or 4 for 1, depending on what your opponent's board state looks like. And so worst case scenario, it's like a multi-shot where it's going to hit 2 of your opponent's minions for 3 damage for 4 mana. In a best case scenario, it's like a full board clear for 4 mana. So huge swings for this guy. You can see a lot of potential coming in a lot of different decks. You know, the fast decks to get an advantage on the board in tempo, the slow decks to kind of clear your opponent's board in one shot and stick something as well. Huge card. So what about the worst card? For me, this was not close. It was Vengeful Spirit. Vengeful Spirit is a 4/4 for 4 mana with an outcast of draw 2 death rattle minions from your deck. So a 4/4 for 4, draw 2 minions would be great at its face, but that's not what this is. This only draws them on Outcast, and it is only drawing death rattle minions, which for right now is not great, and in the future might not even be that great, as I'll get into in a little bit. So you compare this to something like Vile Fiend Trainer, which is a 5/4 for 4, and Outcast gives you 2 1/1s. Vile Fiend Trainer isn't seeing much action. It has way more effect on the board state because as a 5/4, it's way more aggressive, even though it trades down, and getting those 2 1/1s is pretty strong for tempo as well at 4 mana. And if you don't play Vile Fiend Trainer on Outcast, you don't feel like you were cheated because you still get a fairly statted minion that's pretty aggressive. Vengeful Spirit, you really have to play it on Outcast for it to be good. So at 4 mana, that's not always easy. It means that you're running a higher curve deck, which means that there are going to be other cards that could potentially get in your way of playing this in Outcast. So it's harder to play in Outcast because of how much it costs and how much the rest of your deck may cost. And then on top of that, if you don't play it on Outcast, it's only a 4/4 for 4, which sometimes isn't even going to trade 1 for 1. Sometimes it's just going to get eaten up by another minion that's already on the table. So I don't really see it even being that good in any situation. And when Death Rattle does potentially get good for Demon Hunter, I think it's going to be crowded out by some of the other Death Rattle synergies. Which brings us to our most exciting card, which is Deathspeaker Blackthorn. So Deathspeaker Blackthorn costs 7 mana. I think it's a 5/5, and on Battle Cry, it takes 3 Death Rattle minions that cost 5 or less and puts them directly into play. So this card is huge. The amount of stats you're going to get on the board for 7 mana here is going to be insane. If any of these Death Rattle minions have Taunt or Rush, then you're in a Guardian Animal situation where you are completely swinging the board state in your favor, sometimes unrecoverably for your opponent with 1 card, and then it sets you up to win the game, and it's going to be very hard for your opponent to respond to that. So the problem right now is that there are not any good Death Rattle minions that cost 5 or less for Demon Hunter. So they're started printing out the Death Rattle synergies. They have these quill boards that draw Death Rattle minions. They have the new weapon that's going to draw a Death Rattle card on Death Rattle. So they've got the building blocks there, but they don't really have the haymakers that are going to make this card good. However, when those haymakers do come out, whether they're neutral Death Rattle cards or whether they are Demon Hunter specific, this card is going to be the capstone of that pivot for Demon Hunter into Death Rattle, and it's going to be an absolute monster. So right out of the gate, probably not going to see much play because of the weakness of 5-mana Death Rattle cards, but this guy is going to really take off once those cards do come out, because we've seen this before with Guardian Animals or with N'Zoth, where you take these empty boards and fill them with monsters and your opponent just can't recover. So I think Deathspeaker Blackthorne is going to really encapsulate that. Now, if you think of this guy in the context of Vengeful Spirit, the last thing you want to do is draw your surprise Death Rattle minions with Vengeful Spirits, then not have them in your deck for Blackthorne. So Vengeful Spirit, once again, punctuating why this card isn't so great, and I think Blackthorne is really going to crowd it out a little bit. Anyway, I'm excited to see what cards get printed to make Blackthorne good. Right now, he's probably going to stay on the shelf, but a lot of potential for this guy in the future. So where do you see Demon Hunter going for this expansion and over the next year? Leave a respectful comment below, and don't forget to subscribe. Tune in next time.